It's Mena. Welcome back to my channel, or if this is the very first video that you're seeing of me, then welcome to my channel. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button down below if you didn't already. I post every day of the week for all. And today in this video, I'm going to be talking about my top 10 pet peeves about staying in the hospital. Now, I know if you guys have ever stayed in the hospital, it's really hard to stay in the hospital because you can't get out, you can't really do much and stuff, and it's very, very hard. I totally understand what you guys are going through. If you guys have been a long time subscriber, or if you're new to my channel and don't know this about me, I have been stuck in the hospital quite a lot when I was 13 years old because I was going through chemotherapy at the time. I have a full story about it, but I'm not going to link it down below because that whole video is in parts. And I'm going to talk about all of my pet peeves I had about staying in the hospital. And don't get me wrong, I was very, very grateful to have the help I needed, that the doctors were very nice, and so were the nurses were very nice, and they all took extremely good care of me, and I'm very grateful to that. But I have a couple pet peeves about about my stays in the hospital. That's what I meant to say. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word. My stays in the hospital, visits to the hospital, I had pet peeves, and I'm going to talk about all those pet peeves about being stuck in the hospital and let me know if you guys have ever been stuck in the hospital. You probably all understand how it feels, because sometimes you don't get enough sleep, sometimes you can't really do much, and it's very hard because sometimes you have to sit in bed all the time. And I totally understand how you guys feel. Like I said, I went through chemo, so I completely understand how you guys all feel about staying in the hospital. So I'm going to get started. So number one on my list would have to be being attached to a pole all day. So when I was going through chemo, I had a Broviac in my chest. It was a tube they put in my chest so I could get my medicines, because then they wouldn't have to poke me all the time. And I had to be attached to this pole, and if I didn't drag it everywhere with me, I'd probably pull my cords out, which probably would have been very, very painful. And I had a tube in my chest that went through the main chamber of my heart, so I could get my meds so they wouldn't poke me all the time. And in order for me to get my medications, I had to be attached to these poles all day, so then so then I could get my medications that were needed. And I'm sure you guys all understand how it feels to be attached to like a pole. The good thing about this pole is it had wheels and stuff, so I could stay on my medications and walk around and everything. And it's good that they have those things, because then you can get up and get around and get the exercise you need, which is very, very good. And then you can walk to the bathroom and stuff, which makes it like also easy for you and everything, and it just is very helpful to all of us. So that's number two on my list. Had to be the nurses waking me up. Now, this was one issue I had with the nurses in the hospital. Is like a lot of them would turn the bright light on, and I can't sleep with a bright light shining right in my face. Normally, I'm a pretty heavy sleeper, but I literally could not sleep when they shine the bright light in my face. Sometimes they turn on like small little lights so they wouldn't wake me up and stuff. But it was very hard for both me and my mom to sleep, because a lot of the nurses would make noise on accident by walking in and stuff. But they were all super duper nice, and I was very glad that they all helped me. Number three on my list would have to be not being able to get out. So when I was going through chemo, I had to stay in the hospital getting my chemo treatment, and I couldn't even go out of the building to go and visit my friends or go to places. Everybody had to come to the hospital to see me, which I kind of felt bad because like not a lot of my friends could make it to the hospital to visit me, and they wouldn't allow so many people in one room. So I had to stay in the hospital in order to get all of my treatments and everything, and it really bothered me that I wouldn't be able to get out. Number four on my list would have to be noisy roommates. So I've had a couple roommates that were crying because they were all little kids, which I understand because it's very, very scary to be in a hospital and stuff. And sometimes some of my roommates would be crying for hours, and I couldn't get any sleep at night. I remember like I said, one time, I have a full story of it, which I'll link down below, is how my mom and I were in the hospital one time, and then we got stuck in the hospital with 2 crying babies, and they kept us both up all night, so we had to sleep the entire next day. Which I understand because they're really small babies, but hospitals are like very, very hard to sleep in when you have noisy roommates, because sometimes the roommates cry, sometimes the roommates are playing loud noises. I mean, loud TV, the TV very loud, and sometimes they're accidentally inconsiderate, which I understand because they want to distract themselves, but sometimes they don't think about these things. I remember things, and like I said, if you didn't see the story of how my mom and I got stuck in the hospital with 2 crying babies one time, which kept us up all night, I'll link that down below. Number 5 on my list would be my parents having to go all the way to the hallway for the bathroom. So the bathroom that was in my room in the hospital, that was only allowed for me because I was a patient. If my parents had to use the bathroom, they had to go all the way, which was kind of far, to the end of the hallway to use the bathroom, because that was the only bathroom they had for like guests at the hospital. You know, because they couldn't use my bathroom because they'd accidentally mistake because that was only for the patient in the hospital, because they have to have that bathroom so they can do checkings and stuff, if you guys understand what I mean. And that was only for the patient that was getting treatment in the hospital, which sucked that because then my parents had to go to the end of the hallway, which they didn't really mind at all, to be fairly honest, but it was just so they wouldn't confuse the patient with things with the other person that's not getting treatment. Number 6 on my list would have to be the TV station not having enough channels. So when I was in the hospital, the hospital I went to, that place only had like 4 channels, so half the time, and there was nothing on I wanted to watch, and I was still in the brink of watching like cable TV at the time because I didn't know about YouTube until like 7th grade. I was in 6th grade when I was going through chemo, and half the time I'd be bored because there weren't enough channels on the TV, and so to keep me busy, my parents and I would always get movies for me to watch in the hospital, so then I could stay distracted. Because back then I didn't really knit or crochet as much, so I needed something to keep me busy and distracted. Number 8 on my list would have to be number 7 on my list would have to be staying in bed most of the day. So this is one thing I had to do because I had to sit down and get my chemo treatments. And sit in the bed pretty much most of the day because I had to stay in the pool. I had to stay plugged in sometimes, and I had to get treated, or sometimes I had to get my blood drawn, and I couldn't walk around with them drawing my blood, or I had to get like my meds through there, and half the time it would take them a while to do my medications. And again, I'm very thankful that they were able to help me and stuff, but I just hated staying in bed all day. Number 9 on my list would have to be not being able to see my family. Number 8 on my list would have to be not being able to see my friends. Now, when I was going through chemo, sorry, I skipped one, I couldn't see my friends a lot because a lot of my friends were going to school and they were busy with homework and stuff, so not a lot of them could stop by the hospital, and plus a lot of my friends lived in the city that I lived in, and I was in another city getting treatment, so they couldn't come all the way out there to visit me, because they only could visit me if they stopped by after school and stuff, and a lot of them just couldn't get like rides from their parents because all their parents were working and stuff. And the only way I could see my friends is if I was at home. And then one of my friends, she would always come over after school and keep me company, which was very, very nice. And she would hang out with me, talk to me, and tell me how all of our friends were doing and who said hi, which I thought was really nice of her to bring me messages from all of our friends. Number 9 on my list would have to be not being able to see my family. So a lot of times I couldn't see my family as much because either my counts were low and I couldn't go to a lot of the family outings if I was stuck in the hospital, which made me kind of sad. I remember I think I was supposed to go to a wedding with my family for my stepdad at the time's brother, who was my uncle, and I was really excited to go, and I really wanted to go, but I couldn't go because I had to get my treatments and my counts were low that time, and so they had to go without me, which I was very disappointed because I couldn't see anybody. And it really, really sucked, and it was very hard for me. Number 10, and it was also hard for my family because a lot of them couldn't see me because a lot of them were busy with their jobs and a lot of them were busy with school and stuff, and it made it very, very hard for them as well. Number 10 on my list had to be being sick. Now, that was one of my hardest things about being stuck in the hospital, was getting sick from some of my chemo medications. Like, I would get headaches, I would get nauseous, I would just not feel well, and half the time I'd be sitting in the hospital just trying to feel better, and half the time I would probably either have really bad headaches that I would get nauseous, that it would make me throw up. I'm sorry, that's really gross. And then half the time I just didn't feel like getting up or anything, because I felt so horrible from some of my meds. And I'm sure if you guys are going through chemo right now, you all understand how it feels. Okay, so those are my top 10 pet peeves about staying in the hospital. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I post every day of the week for all, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye.